Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Mind of Reese. It was funny today. I was even going over, and I'll tell you in the episode of how I wasn't even sure I was going to do an episode this week. I wanted to, I'm always trying to show up with the value. I'm always trying to show up with what's alive for me, and it's just there's been a lot going on, which we'll get into. And yeah, but today I found something through the inspiration of my InkSpired Academy students on. Is it really about how to write a caption on IG? And I get this question a lot, like, how do I write a caption on IG? And we're going to get into that in this episode. But is that really all it's about? So we're going to get into the nitty gritty. But before we do, Unfuckwithable has just started and there's still time to get in. If you absolutely are like, man, I want to get into this. And this episode really, frames what we talk about in Unfuckwithable as well. I'll still give you a discount at $444. You just hit me up and say, Reese, I heard the podcast. I want in. Let me know. Okay, so we still have the early bird, the public early bird, which is at $444 right now. And you're more than welcome. Number 2, I will be opening up a mastermind called the Visionary Mastermind. Now, if you don't know what a mastermind is because you're a tattoo artist or a creative, I've been in a few masterminds myself, so I'm going to give it to you. A mastermind is like being in a studio filled with top-notch artists you've always dreamed of, to bounce ideas back and forth, to be plugged into the energy, to collaboration, to relationships, to growth, to mentorship. It's really connection under the umbrella theme of artists who are ready to take their business to a new level and create passive income through education. So this is not a program, it's a group of people who are ready to take their business to the tattoo empire state of being and really just tapping into education and how. And in this 6 weeks, we will be talking about, 6 months. It's a 6-month mastermind. And I'm only having about anywhere from 5 to 8 people in this space because I want to get to know your business so well, like the back of my hand. And we're going to be walking through how we handle holding 2 businesses at once, or even 3 if you own a shop and you manage people, how we create educational programs, how we launch these educational programs, what your educational program actually will be about, like what is it that you actually want to teach. We're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of that, who your ideal clients are, whether they're tattoo artists, whether they're creatives, whether they're just entrepreneurs, whether they're just people, like depending on all the things. Like this is basically building a brand new business and you're basically creating an educational side to your business. So I want to just remind all tattoo artists out there that it doesn't have to have anything to do with tattooing, but it all relates to each other. And so I just want you to know that, like, if this is something on your mind, but you're like, oh, but I don't want it, it's not for tattoo artists, I will promise you that there's always a way to weave these things through, and you'll always find that everything is related. Talk about me and spirituality and business. I had no idea that I could relate my spirituality, my personal life to my business, and yet it is all intertwined. So this is really about being plugged into a space that holds you to your highest power, and that helps you collapse time around any questions or any obstacles you have, and keeps you really fucking inspired and holds you accountable and helps you take that action that you've been wanting to take. Because oftentimes we say we're going to do something and we don't, especially when we don't have someone in the wings watching us and making sure we're keeping to our own word. So if this is for you, please let me know. Click on the link. We're gonna start setting up calls this month and next month. This thing doesn't start until maybe mid-August or September. So this gives us time and space to really figure out if this is for us. I also have the VIP one-on-one, people who are really ready to just get in and just want to go from more to more. It's like you trust yourself enough to believe in yourself enough to get a mentor that feels really empowering and holds you to your highest power. If you just want me to be in your business alone, it's you and me, baby, and it's the universe. And this is why I love my VIP one-on-ones, is because we get to do all of things. We get into the energetics, we get into the emotional game, and we get into the strategic game, because all 3 games are the games that we play in entrepreneurship always. And so I will literally plan strategy around your business. around how it is that you want to show up. I have people opening up shops in my VIP one-on-ones. I have people switching from one style to the next style and how they really strategize around that. I have, and a lot of times it's really diving deep into their inner beliefs and really, moving through that and processing through that and integrating that within their system so that they can up level in the way that they see themselves up leveling. This is leadership work. This is accountability work. This is really being vulnerable and feeling seen. And if this is something that you are desiring in your life, you're desiring to feel this accountability, this up-levelment within your leadership, in your life, in your business, VIP one-on-one could be for you. Definitely more hands-on. I'm right there with you every step of the way. You've got me right in your back pocket. So that's also in the notes. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I won't even get into the next thing I'm going to be doing, which is my challenge for Meditation 22, but just listen to Meditation 22 and you'll just hear Meditation 22. I know that'll just be in your subconscious mind so that when I actually start talking about it, you're going to be like, oh, fuck yeah. So I love you guys. I hope you love this episode. This episode is a doozy. It's funny because I know it was inspired by my students and I'm like, I hope they don't think I'm calling them out. It's not that at all. It's like they inspired me to build something that I know, hey, if a few people are feeling this, maybe a lot more people are feeling it. So I wanted to bring the value. I wanted to bring you the juice, and let's go. Back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. Holy moly. I was contemplating on whether or not I was going to have a topic for this week. I am so busy. I just little on what's going on in my life right now. I'm literally, I just finished my 3-week launch of Unfuckwithable, which was amazing, celebrating 21 people in there. And if you're still feeling a vibe, I'd say full send, come on in. You get all the recordings forever and all that good stuff. So we still have 4 weeks left, and we might even have 5 because I am just a crazy lady like that, and things always come through. So just finished that launch, about to step into a new launch for my books being open, and about to head into getting keys for my new tattoo shop. I'm going from my first tattoo shop, which is 825 square feet, going into almost a 3,000 square foot space. So I'm really excited and also very nervous. And so I'm navigating construction through that. And I'm also leaving for Belgium this week. And so this podcast episode actually is in real time. So I am leaving the moment this podcast gets uploaded is the day I leave. And by the way, it's 1:11 p.m. today. So if anybody into synchronicities, you're welcome. And numerology and angel numbers, you're welcome. So I'm kind of I'm moving through a lot. I was like, I only like to show up in these spaces online, wherever, as long as I'm putting in a ton of value and I'm giving my community the utmost of what they deserve, really. Because for me, I look at it from a perspective of like, this is my values. My values adhere to keeping everything as much value as possible. And if I'm able to do that and stay with my highest of standards on the way that I offer value, then I'm going to go ahead and do it. If I can't do that to the standard and to the level of standard that I require of myself, then I'm not going to do it. So I was contemplating on this, and I just literally had InkSpired Academy, our very last meeting, which is crazy. We just had that today. And, something that was brought up in the conversations today as I was doing Instagram audits and really just talking, doing hot seat coaching with my students, with a couple of my students in there. One particular topic kept coming up, and I wanted to bring that here because I figure this must be happening a lot with a lot of people. And I understand that for myself as well, it was this way when I first started to really try to shine my own self-expression and my own authenticity out into the world. And so what I want to talk about today is messaging. It's really how we, it's like caption writing. And what's funny about caption writing is that I think what ends up happening is that we go on this journey, especially if you're in a journey of self-expression, authenticity, ingenuity, where we find ourselves getting stuck on what it is we want to say, how it is we want to say it. And then what I really want from all of you guys as you're listening to this here is that I want you to ask yourself the deeper questions. It's like, well, I just don't know how to say it. And I understand that. Like, I just don't know what to say, or I don't know how to say it. And it's like, well, what do you mean? And as a coach and as your mentor, I could always be like, well, here are the few ways that you could say it. But it's not getting to the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is like, let's go a layer deeper. It's like, okay, well, I'm just afraid of saying what I want to say. And then we can go even a level deeper. It's like, I fear rejection if I say what I want to say. And now this is something I can work with, because I could give you all of the tactics. And I talk about this a ton in InkSpired Academy. It's like, and I will be talking about this in Unfuckwithable. It's like, we have 3 games that we're playing in life. We have the emotional game, your identity game, the energetic game, it's the quantum game, and we have the material game, the strategic game. And then we have our tactics. Like, the strategy game is not the tactics. The tactics is like, oh, how I do something, here are all the ways that you can do this. And I could offer that to people. I could say, well, here's a way you could offer this message, and here's a way you could write it, and here's another way that you could write it. But really, it's not about the writing of it. It's like, who cares what it looks like, or who cares what you're saying, But we do care. We care very much. And that's the part where it's like, oh, I can't just tell myself that I don't care. I just can't tell myself, like other people will say, well, why do you care? I do care. And it's really being honest with yourself and finding yourself in that space to where you can integrate these parts of yourself that you're like, yeah, there's a part of me that does care a lot. I absolutely care about what people think of me. And I absolutely care that, and I absolutely fear that I will be rejected for saying the things that are on my mind. And so this is where we get to really dive down into the nitty gritty of it, because then once we unearth and dig up the root of this belief, of this, thought gremlin that we have in all of us. We all have these little gremlins inside of us that create these beliefs and cause us to stop. And it's really like our ego just being a knight in shining armor, trying to protect us, but through judgment and through scarcity and through shame. And this is where we get to really, instead of saying, well, I don't know how, it's like, well, actually, I just don't want to feel rejected for saying what it is that I feel like saying sometimes. And so that's the real root. So that is something I can work with. And then we can get into the tactics of like how we can write this message and what's the best way to write a caption. This is where we really have to find this wholeness. That's why we're in a holistic business, is finding the wholeness within us. It's really integrating all the parts of us, shame and the best parts and the parts that we don't like so much, or we think that people won't like, and integrate them together. And being honest with ourselves, there's radical responsibility in that. And when we can become aware of that and ask ourselves these really intuitive and deep questions, not how can I write a caption? It's more like, how can I not reject myself? Because that's the whole core of it. It's like, I'm rejecting myself first so that I don't get rejected from others and then feel even more rejection. So what I'm doing is I'm going to reject myself first in order to protect myself. And that's the thing, is that like your ego is really just trying to protect you. All the beliefs in your body are really just trying to protect you. Why? Because we've had an experience sometime in our life that told us that we fear rejection. For all of us, for most of us, we all grew up in a society where our grades they mattered. And when we, said things out loud, on paper, or maybe we were at a grocery store and we said something like, out loud, and then our parents told us to stop. Parents said, don't do that. You'll be judged for that. Or you get rejected for saying something like that, or for feeling something like that. You're like crying in the middle of the store because, you don't understand why something happened. It's like, these are the little things, the little nuances in our lives that create these beliefs within us that cause us to feel certain ways. And at the end of the day, the underlying feeling of anything, rejection, shame, it's fear. And so fear is really where it's like the root of it. It's like, okay, there's the root of my fear. Yes, I understand where the fear is coming from. And sometimes you don't even need to understand. That's the best part about healing, is that you don't actually need to understand why you feel certain things. Sometimes it could be ancestral, generational. And when we can go in there and really look within us, we can actually heal the ancestral and generational lines and lineage within us. We can heal all those past versions so nothing can end up in the future anymore. The moment that we start to become really, really self-aware of the things that are going on inside us and start digging deeper to the questions, the surface level questions that we continuously ask ourselves. And so as a mentor and as your mentor, if you're listening to this, it's one of those things where I want you to ask yourself the deeper question. And so when I walk my students through these things, we go deep. I'm like, well, is it really, of course I can give you when it comes to messaging and captions, let's just list it out right here. We can do I statements, we could do we statements, and we could do you statements. I statements is more like a journal entry. We statements is just like collective. It's like, hey, bringing in the community. We are, we, the community, are here to get tattooed. It's like, I love giving tattoos to people because it's a transformational thing. And then we can do you. It's like this is a sign for you to come and get a tattoo. It's like me talking to you. It's a very powerful point of view. So these are the different point of views that we can add in captions. And then in the caption, it's always like, of course, you can have a really good hook at the top that's like, stop right there and read this. This is for you if X, Y, and Z. All these captions that you have. And then at the bottom, you have a CTA. It's a call to action. Okay, boom. You can find these tactics everywhere on the internet. You can literally Google how to write a caption and find it. It's that easy. The hard part is actually expressing yourself in a way that is authentic to you. And the reason why we get stopped in that is because we do have fears and we do have beliefs within us and very real experiences that shaped those beliefs within us that causes us to dim our light, to put a mask on. And one thing I like to teach my students is that when you try to micromanage the way that people see you, you will always be looked at as an image-based business. That is the kind of business that you have because you are exhausting yourself with trying to put on a facade and to put on a mask for people to see, because you believe that if you act or do the things that in this particular way, you will be liked and you will not be rejected for it. When you are unapologetically expressed, this is versus when you are unapologetically expressed and you are authentically you are living in your truth, you are in a service-based business. Because being in your truth means being vulnerable, and being vulnerable is actually relatable. Go figure, right? There are other people that feel fear of rejection. There are other people that fear being in their truth. There are other people that fear being fully expressed. And it takes one person, just like you, to be exactly who you are, to be the example for the other people around you to follow in that footsteps and to do the same thing. And that's the point of why we are here, of why we are here on this planet, why we are entrepreneurs in general. As an entrepreneur, you said, I'm going to go first. I'm going to make moves. I'm going to believe in a vision that does not yet exist. And I'm going to follow through with that vision until it does exist in my conscious external reality. But somewhere along the lines, we stopped ourselves. Somewhere along the lines, we got scared. We got complacent. We said, oh, I'm comfortable right here. I am now a tattoo artist. I'm getting by. I have some clients. I'm not fully booked out. I'm sometimes booked out. But then, it kind of ebbs and flows and these kinds of things. And it's like, I would love to be fully booked out, doing the style I love, being fully expressed. But it's like, but I want to somehow micromanage the way that people see me. And I somehow want to exhaust myself with taking all the energy that I have and really just trying to put this facade on for people, highlight reel of IG, so that people only see me in this way. And this is where your energy becomes really depleted and you have no creative flow because of the fact that you're depleting your energy by micromanaging. When we micromanage, that's a very motherly, wounded masculine aspect. It's like, I need to make sure that I'm looking this way. I'm doing it in this way. I'm doing it in this thing so that people see it this way. And I want to remind you that, in order to really make quantum leaps, make really big strides within your business, you're always going to need to take brave action. Micromanaging is not a brave action. It's holding yourself back. It's really just keeping you in the comfort zone. And whenever we stay in the comfort zone, there's no bravery to be had in the comfort zone because you know what's happening. That's predictable. You're living a predictable life. You're taking predictable action. When we start to realize that if I want bigger things, I've got to make bigger moves. Bigger moves means unknown. Then I'm taking unpredictable action. And when I take unpredictable action, it's going to be scary. And I need to learn how to walk with my fears. Exactly everything we talk about in Unfuckwithable. And so for messaging and for caption writing when it comes to Instagram, it's really digging deeper into the root of it. It's like the reason why it's so hard, or the reason why you're not showing up is because there's fear around how we are perceived. And that's okay. I was just saying, I fear feeling rejection. I fear really feeling uncool. Like, I feel so nervous that people will think I'm dumb. And can I just feel into that? Can I just be like, am I dumb? I mean, in my body, that's totally doesn't feel right. But like, can I just say that? Like, if I actually feel like I don't want people to think that I'm dumb, or I don't want people to think that I'm not smart, or I don't want people to think that like I'm not cool, then why don't how about I just feel into that? Why don't I just feel like, okay, how would it feel that I'm not cool? Cool. Okay. I feel that in my body. I can feel uncool in my body. Like, that's like, why not just feel it? Feel the rejection in your body and realize like those feelings, although they are uncomfortable, will not kill you. And that's what we fear. We fear the death of it. We fear that because we fear, oh my gosh, but if I don't feel this feeling, this habitual patterned feeling within my body, then it's going to cause me to do something different, which I'm not used to, and I don't want to do anything different because I'm afraid of doing something different because it's the unknown. But I know on the other side of the unknown is always what it is I seek. And that's, you seek impact, you seek more clients, you seek more eyes on your page that are soulmates, you seek community. We seek all these things we want outside of us, and yet we can't offer it to us inside of us. And that's the first place we need to be starting. We need to start to look inwardly before we can get anything outwardly that is of any substance. Now, we all, and I know that a lot of us have gotten to where we are by doing everything outwardly, by pushing and forcing and doing the things and continuously, just doing anything outwardly. And we think that in order to get more of what we have right now, we have to do it harder and faster. We have to do more. Like, in order to 2x is very linear mindset. It's like, okay, just do more of it, do it faster. Those two things, if I do more of the same thing and I do it faster, I will get more. Yeah, you might 2x your business. I've definitely done it. I've lived in this way. I've lived in this 2x linear way. But in order to 10x, in order to make quantum leaps, in order to completely uproot what's happening now and to totally do something different, 10x mindset means to disidentify with who you have been and start to identify with who you want to be. And who you want to be is the kind of person that is fully authentically expressed, who is feeling super duper confident. And when they're not feeling confident, they say fuck it and do it anyway, because like, who fucking cares? And if I do, and at the end of the day, it is okay to care. So I do fucking care. And because like for me, what helps me take brave action is that it's my why. It's my reasons for being here. And it's also my values and my level of standards. I value growth. I absolutely value growth. And if I'm going to value growth, I need to dig within me in order for me to grow in that way. And my standards are very high. If I'm going to value my growth, I'm going to value that I'm going to put myself in situations that are going to make me feel uncomfortable, because I know on the other side of the comfort zone is liberation. It's freedom. My fears are the journey toward my freedom, always. If you feel fear around something, lean into that. Feel it out. Is this really my highest self being like, no, this ain't for me? Or is this something that's telling me, is this a belief within me that's saying, no, don't do this. This is scary. What if someone rejects us? And that's where we get to, really be a sovereign being and choose. We end up being this. We get to be the choice maker. We get to be the quantum observer of our own thoughts and realize, okay, I have a choice here. And what we need to get out of is that we keep telling ourselves that we don't have a choice. And these are the kinds of questions like, well, I don't know what to write. That's a choice. And although it's like a beautiful thing and it's a one step closer to the truth, I want to help you get to the next steps and digging deeper into that. So when you feel fear about expressing yourself fully, feel it in your body. This is called shadow work. A lot of you know who Carl Jung is. In the early 1900s, he was the guy that came up with like shadow work and shadow integration. It's really just like looking at shining the light on the parts of yourself that you feel unlovable, that you deem negative, or that you deem, like people won't like it. Like society doesn't like these types of emotions, so you shouldn't have these. And we all have those parts of us that tell us, no, this isn't a good emotion. We shouldn't have this. We shouldn't feel this. So let's move away from that and start trying to only feel the good stuff. But when really, how can we ever feel the extent of pleasure and happiness and wealth and joy if we don't even know the complete opposite of that? Like if we've never, like the people that really are, oh my God, have these gnarly experiences in life, they see the upside of it. They're like, I've been down rock bottom. And not everybody has to hit rock bottom in order to feel this, but a lot of us have to in order to understand it. And in order to understand what an upside is, what it feels like to feel like in our fullest joy. And so it sucks that it has to be that way, because I would rather you not have to do that. And I know a lot of people that don't. And the more that you get to know this work, the more you get to know yourself, is that like you actually can have rock bottoms without having it to be an external rock bottom. It could be a totally internal rock bottom, depression and all of these things. And it's like, okay, well then let me figure this out. Let me look into this. Let me love myself so much that I decide that this is my standard to look into this, to be fully expressed in this way as well. Like allow myself to just feel fully expressed with me only. Because then the more that we can create that safety within ourselves, the more that we could do it outside of ourselves. And then creating captions and knowing what to write, that gets easy. It's like, what do I feel today? I could just go based off that. And then we can get to really strategic. It's like, okay, I'm having a launch. How can I make people feel? I wouldn't say that. I would say more like, how can I drive people to feel what I have felt before? Because we all feel it. For me, shame into power, purpose into unapologetic expression. It's like we have pain into power, shame into unapologetic expression. We have wounds into wisdom. Like this is the vibe. And this is what I want you guys to go out there and like do that for yourselves, so that all of these other tactical questions become easy. It's like, oh, okay, I'll go get an educational course on this, and I can go get an educational course on this. And then you could just start implementing right away. The doing actually gets to be really easy when you master the inner game. The inner game is the emotional game, the energetic game. We can't connect to a quantum. We can't connect to our future selves if our emotional game, if we're identifying with the part of us that says, oh, I am this and I am only this. When I say I am shy and I am only shy and I'll never not be shy, then we give ourselves no room for growth. So we can't even tap into the energetics of it. And we can't even tap into the how or the tactics of it, because I've already said I'm shy. So you could give me 100 million different ways on how to write a caption, and I'm not going to write one that's authentic. I'm not going to write one that I don't know how to say it, because I just don't even know myself well enough to express myself in that way. And so at the end of the day, everything with Instagram, everything with your business, everything with social media is always going to come down to the root thing. It's always going to come down to the belief, what you believe. And for me, I'd rather not exhaust myself by trying to micromanage the way people see me. That's exhausting. It depletes my energy field, and I have no energy for creation. If I have no energy for creation, all I do is consume, and then I compare. I consume content. I compare myself with others. I wish that I could write like that. And instead, I'm like, no, I'm going to be fully expressed. I know how to use my voice. I talk every day. You talk every day. You talk every day with your clients. You have plenty of things to talk about. And you're not worried about the way that you say them in front of that. You're not like worrying about how eloquent it is when you say the thing. You're not worrying about how many ums or likes you're saying. You're just there. You're being real. You're talking in your own voice. Your tone of voice is huge. It makes you who you are. I was telling my students today, I was like, I'm not talking in all of this spiritual jargon that makes it sound so ethereal and out of this world, because that's just not the way that I speak. Every time I read someone that does that, I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. The way they're talking about the cosmos and how astrology, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I love that. That sounds so cool. But if I start to write like that, it's not me. It doesn't even sound like me. I'm like, hey, fucker, here's the deal. Don't micromanage your shit. Be fully unapologetically expressed. This is the fifth dimension stuff. But I'm like, I like to bridge the gap between science, spirituality. That's like me. Like, I love to know the analytics of spiritual world. I love to understand the science behind manifestation. Like, I don't like to, the woo-woo thing was really hard for me for a long time, even though I knew deeply within my body that that's what I loved. I was like, I believe it. I know it, but I want to understand it better from a science perspective, because I'm a Virgo. I'm grounded. I'm earth energy, And I have two, and I have water and air. Like, I don't have fire energy. That's not like, I'm all over the place. So I'm just like, this is where my momentum comes from. Like, I'm earthly, I'm grounded. That's how I stick around. That's how I'm like, that my brain needs to understand the analytics of this. I can't talk in all of this otherworldly, like really cool, wave flowy things, that the way that people speak. I'm like, that's just not how I speak. And the moment I can just get comfortable with that aspect and just release that, I say ums, and I'm trying to, the way I'm even talking on here on this podcast, I'm just flowing. I'm just channeling through, and it might not make sense to everybody, but it will make sense to the right people. And that's all I care about. I don't need to make sense to everybody. I just need to make sense to the people that are meant to be in my space. And the more that I can get comfortable with me just being unapologetically expressed through my words, through me, through my art, I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. And then that's when we can really start to really not give a shit. Like, I love everybody, and I love everybody's opinion, and everybody is valid to one. Abso-fucking-lutely. I love that. And if someone has something to say that's maybe not so nice, or maybe they're correcting me, I'm like, cool, thanks for the correction. I know how to open myself up to hold myself during those hard times. And this is what we need to be doing, is that we need to hold ourselves in these feelings so that when they do come up, we are ready to hold them when a reaction happens. When we're like, oh, a thought came in, this person did actually reject me, did actually reject this. But does that actually mean that they're rejecting me, or do I get to choose who they're rejecting? They might think they're rejecting me, but I don't have to take it as rejection. I could take it as they just don't understand me, and that's cool. Not everybody's meant to be understood. I'm not meant to be understood by everybody. I'd rather not. I think I got up to 120,000 people following me on Instagram through micromanaging how people saw me. And now I have, and every year I get even deeper and deeper and deeper into knowing who I am and how it is that I want to show up. And that's just plain me. And it gets more easeful, but I see a lot of people falling off. Nobody likes it anymore. They miss the Reese that showed off her body a lot. They miss the Reese that was super like crazy funny and, you know, a lot of IG tactics. They miss the easy wins, like those kinds of things. And now I'm going in deeper and I'm talking about deeper shit. And I'm like, yes, I want to help everybody in their business and I'm still a goofy gal, but I have a lot of like really meaningful things in my body to say, and I want to say them. And I want to express them in the way that I want to express them. And I want to create beautiful content in that way. And that's my value. I'm like, I mean, those are one of my values. I want to bring a lot of value to my people. I want to keep it simple, but I also want it to be very meaningful and true for me in the moment. I'm not going to continuously create content that I know did well just so I can create more followers. I don't want followers. I want community. Community comes from emotional connection, not from me clickbaiting you. Like, I don't need you to clickbait. Like, I don't need to create clickbait in order for people to like me. That's the last thing I want. I want to be funny because that's how I am, because I'm goofy. I want to be meaningful and spiritual and scientific because that's what I study every single day. I'm the embodiment of who I am. And I'm not afraid to share that embodiment. But we have to start with us first. We have to start first with accepting ourselves. But it also means I accept myself and I'm going to take action into bravery, because brave action is the only way that I'm going to surpass that scary thing. Once I do that over and over again, that thing is no longer scary. So then I move on to the next thing. It's like every level you meet a new devil. Every level you meet a new bad guy. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way, you know, games work. And if we can look at this as just a game, awesome. And when I'm looking at it from like a game perspective, then I'm no longer micromanaging how people see me. And then I'm no longer caring that like, okay, well, what if what would happen if the other tattoo artists see this and they're just like, ugh, so what? They're not my ideal client. I want you to get it really real in your head. Who are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to? Your ideal client is not a tattoo artist. Your ideal client is a tattoo collector. The tattoo collector wants to know that they relate to you. They want to know that they have a connection with you. It's scary. We are scary. Tattoo artists are scary to people. People are like, wow, it's especially if you're heavily tattooed like myself, it's like they look at us as intimidating. And it's like, for me, yeah, I could continue on the facade of, you know, intimidation just so that my bros and the homies at the shop, you know, like, oh yeah, Reese is so cool, hip. Like, no, I don't care what the bros and the homies think. I care about what my ideal client thinks, because those are the people that are going to be paying me money. They're the ones investing time, energy, attention, and money into me. And so the more that I become in love with myself and loving all the parts of me, the more other people will feel that and love all the parts of me too. We only are a match to who we are, not what we want. So if I'm going to be a match to who I am, I've got to look at myself first. I've got to look inwardly first. And then I can go out into the world and, you know, do all the tactics and things like this. And that's the best part about business, is like the more work we do on the inner healing, the better we get at the strategic part, the better we get at the what and the why and the hows. Because now I'm no longer letting a belief dictate how I show up in the world. Because there's a billion ways to do that. But how I show up in the world is dictated by what I believe. And if I have fear that someone's going to reject me, I'm only going to choose the hows that are going to keep me safe from that rejection. Now I'm like, no, I love me. I don't fear rejection. And if someone rejects what I say, that does not mean I have to take it as them rejecting me, because I don't reject me. I don't abandon me. So if someone comes out the woodwork, which they will, And let me tell you one thing too. People are going to reject the facade as well. People are going to reject the 10% of you that you share with the world. They're going to reject the part of you that you are so, that you show up with thinking that that's the likable part of you. People are going to reject that too. So it's like, why are we going to put so much effort in micromanaging how people see us when really they're going to reject the part that you actually show them? That's like the catch. It's like you're going to be rejected no matter what. Maybe you're more rejected because you're just unapologetically yourself. But why not? That person that's rejecting you, do you actually want them in your chair? No. The person that's not, the person that was like, whoa, I was really empowered and inspired by what you said. I don't know why I'm coming to get a tattoo, but it was just something about who you are. I don't know, you just have a good vibe. When you're working off that kind of client, you're in a different business. You're in an energy business. When you're only working off of the material, then yeah, totally. Like, if you want to only post tattoo photos and you're happy about that, like I say, there's no wrong way to do business, baby. There's no wrong way. But if something's not working in your business that you're continuously doing and you want something different, then that means you have to be different. You can't show up the same way and expect something else to happen. That's just not going to happen. Einstein. Insanity. Literally what insanity means, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So I implore you and encourage you to look deeply within. And if you are feeling this sense of, yeah, I don't know what to write because I do fear that people will reject me and who I am, I want you to know that that's okay. Give yourself permission to feel rejection in your body. And then look to find safety within yourself, because the more that you can actually feel that rejection in your body, you actually begin to alchemize it. You begin to create momentum from it. You get to like feel it and realize it's not going to kill you, and it gets to dissipate within your body, and you get to move from that space. And you're like, wow, I've just actually created more safety within myself because I allowed myself to feel rejection. I allowed myself to feel really uncool in this moment. Like I'm so afraid of feeling uncool. Why don't I just feel that I'm uncool? And then now I get to be fully expressed in my truth because I already know how it feels to feel uncool. I've been just so afraid of feeling that. And now I know how it feels. It's not so bad. And I know that at the end of the day, I don't reject myself because I've created that safety, that security, that like solidness within me in order to feel that stuff. And now it's just made me stronger because I pushed up against an edge that I did not want to feel. And now I've decided that I can integrate that and feel that. It's like the things that I shame about myself, I was so afraid to share. And then when it finally came out into the world, when it finally was like slapped me in the face of how like, oh my gosh, now everybody knows. And then I continuously rejected myself. And then the moment I decided, I was like, I'm going to start from here on out to no longer reject myself for my past and for my shames and for the experiences that I've had and the circumstances I put myself in from my beliefs. From my limiting beliefs of myself, my unworthiness, the not enoughness that I've had for myself. And instead I was like, yeah, I'm going to feel all these things. And it still comes up a lot. Of course it's going to come up. I still feel of rejection. I was just having this conversation with my partner today. I was like, weirdest thing is that like my brain always goes to the worst case scenario of rejection because I fear that you'll leave me. So instead what my brain does, it's like it's trying to protect me. It's like, oh, well, no, let's look at the worst case scenario so that if it happens, we're ready. And then I operate from that space of always fearing that he's going to reject me. So what do I have to say? What do I have to micromanage in order for him to continuously like me so he won't reject me? And instead I'm like, I told him straight up, I was like, yeah, this is a thought I had. And I was like, wow, I have to feel that into me. Like, I actually do fear this really gnarly fear of rejection. And that's what happens when you have relationship. Relationships are just mirror images of what you love about yourself and what you don't love about yourself. And when we can just get really clear on what we don't like about ourselves through the mirror images, through social media, through the community, our audience, through our friendships, through our parents, through our relationships, our intimate relationships, then we can actually utilize it as our healing tools. We're like, oh, wow, thank you for the opportunity of allowing me to see me for who I really am. Yes, I'm this badass queen. You know, I'm a badass boss bitch, but I'm also like a really soft, tender-hearted human being. I'm also a really goofy little weirdo. I'm also really disgusting and vulgar, and I like to talk about dicks and jokes and vagina and, you know, flaps and all this stuff. Like, I have so many different kinds of conversations. I am a multifaceted human being. So the fact that we try to micromanage that online, it's like all we're doing is holding ourselves back from the success and the wealth and the things that we so desire because we want to micromanage what everybody sees in us, but also we're micromanaging how we hold things. And if I can't hold safety within myself, how is it I'm going to hold money? How is it that I'm going to make more of it? Like, it's all just energy. Let's play a different game. Let's play the energetic, emotional game here. Let's talk about that. Let's get really clear on that. Hold ourselves in that. Understand that we are safe in ourselves to hold those feelings. This is the law of polarity. It's really just the duality. Holding, yes, I'm a boss-ass bitch, but yes, I fucking fear rejection. I fear people leaving me. That's okay. Feel into that. I'm going to feel both. I'm going to hold both. And the more that I can hold both, the better I can rise as the leader that I know I'm meant to be. Because that's who I'm connected to. I'm connected to future self. I'm not connected to past self. Past self, done that. Been there, done that. I'm connected to future. Let's go there. My future self, she can hold all these feelings. She doesn't fear rejection because she doesn't reject herself. And the moments that rejection happens, she knows how to hold that feeling. And she knows how to love that feeling. I love all parts of me. It takes a long time and a lot of fucking practice. I'm not going to tell you. It's these things that happen in business and in life are always going to be initiators. But when you're on this growth path, you can't go back. You can't go back, and you can't. And so the real question isn't the tactics. It's not how do I write a caption, or how do I do messaging, or how do I create this reel. It's deeper than that. So look deeper within. I love you guys so much. I hope that you love this too. And if this was really helpful, please let me know. I hope nobody thinks that I'm calling them out at all. It's not that at all. It's more just like, I absolutely love to help you with all of your Instagram needs and how we write tactical, the tactical aspects of writing captions and creating reels and doing carousels and why we do them, educational content versus, personability content versus, edgy content and disruptive content, like all of these things. I love to talk about this. I have all the strategies and things like this around social media, but the strategies only work when you can get really, really good at what's going on internally, your own beliefs about yourself and how you show up in this world in order to use these tactics in a really aligned way, aligned to your soul's purpose. So I love you guys so much. If you really love this episode, please repost it, tag me in it. If you are listening to this and you have yet to either, rate this podcast episode, if you're feeling the vibe and you're feeling the call, if you rate this, you can go ahead and screenshot that. You can DM me or you can post it on your stories and let me know. I will send you a gift from me. I've been sending out some of my favorite books. I've been sending out bundles. I've been sending out like my favorite tarot decks and my oracle card decks. And so I just kind of feel the vibe of who you are, and then I kind of just intuitively send you the gift that I think is meant for you from me to you. So if you're feeling the call, please go ahead and give this 5 stars, screenshot it, and let us know in the DMs and Instagram, and we'll connect, and I'll get all the good stuff from you. Otherwise, I love you so much. I hope you have a magnificent day. I hope this lights you the fuck up and it inspires you to look within. And I'll see you on the flip side. I don't know why I said it that way, but you're welcome.